Yes, folks, you're looking at the right screen, okay? We have a theoretical scenario. As you know, after FDR, there was something called the 22nd Amendment, which basically banned the president from going for another term after his second term has ended, okay? So basically, you can only serve as president officially for 8 years, and there's some technicality I can get onto in another video where you can serve for up to 10 years. That being said, Obama could not run in 2016, which left Hillary Hill Dog Clinton to go against Donald Trump to become the first of two women in a row to lose to Donald Trump at the presidential level. Donald Trump, again, term limited after 2029. He'll not be able to run again unless this theoretical happens to occur, where somehow magically two-thirds of the houses or whatever of the states agree to get rid of the 22nd Amendment, which allows the president now to run for a third term. Now, you might be telling me, Lalo, why would Obama, who's been out of politics for like 12 years at this point, why would he step into the ring? One, because who doesn't want to be president? Two, Donald Trump. What about Trump? Well, Trump at this point will be what, 82 years old? Do you think he'll run again? My opinion is, yeah, probably, because assuming he doesn't have any mental issues, he doesn't have the Bidenisms, he doesn't have dementia, I think he would run again. And it's kind of crazy. It's a little controversial because, again, do I want an 86-year-old Trump in office in 8 years? Honestly, it's a stretch. That being said, his dad did live until his 90s, I think. So if anybody's going to make it that long, it's Trump. Obama's age is not much of a factor. I think he'd be under 70 by the end of the third term anyway, so it'd be okay. I mean, his head already looks like an ashtray. It can only get so much worse. So, anyways, let's see some contemporary examples of them roasting each other.
I think he's a real jerk because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of days. I watched him campaign. What a divider he is, right? What a divider he is. He'd divide this country. He couldn't care less. Him and his little group of people. He was terrible. But I've watched what he's done. He's trying to campaign because she's incapable of campaigning. So they send him in to try. He's not going to do it. He also, you know who he helped? He helped Hillary Clinton. How did that work out? He came out for Hillary.
That's funny.
The good news is that Kamala Harris does not have concepts of a plan. She has an actual plan. Now, if you challenge Trump or Vance on these quote-unquote concepts, then they'll fall back on one answer. This is their go-to about everything. Blame immigrants. He wants you to believe that if you let him round up whoever he wants and ship them out, all your problems will be solved.
Okay.
I don't understand. Him and Vance are always talking about, well, Kamala, you've been vice president for 4 years. Let me tell you something. Wasn't Donald Trump president for 4 years?
That's okay. Okay. So I think you guys get a flavor as to what sort of debate we'd have between Trump and Obama. So that's pretty compelling because on one hand, it really is so hard to judge because I'm a Trump guy. So like I'm trying not to be biased, but Trump is just cooler. He's got aura. And mind you, I was like in kindergarten when Obama was president. Okay. I remember he was really cool when I was like 5 years old. It was 2008. He was the hope candidate, the change candidate. He was cool back then in his 40s. But you give him another 15 years of Michelle Obama badgering him, Michelle and being nice, by the way. Basically, he seems worn and torn. You remember in 2024 last year when he was talking about how, oh, us brothers, you need to vote for Trump, or rather, you're voting for Trump and you need to vote for Kamala. He was down talking to these young black men. And there you saw that his aura was depleted. He hasn't talked to a black guy since then, probably. He doesn't even talk to the mirror anymore. He's so cringe by it. He's cringing at the thought because he lost his appeal to the black base. And my point being is that Obama, while in 2008 would have probably killed Trump rhetorically, he was really good back then. It seems like he's really in retrograde. He seems to be off his rocker. He seems to be like Michael Jordan on the Wizards, just a shell of himself, and really just a novelty to be like, oh, it's a former president Obama. Oh my God. But that's all he's useful for. And so even when you saw him campaign for Kamala, it didn't really help him too much. Anyway, so it seems like the question is 2008 Obama, 2012 Obama, would he beat Trump? Yeah, probably. But what about Trump? Is Trump going to be out of his prime? Now, comment down below, what year was Trump in his prime? I'm not saying physically. I'm not saying 1995. I'm saying what year was he the best rhetorically, okay? When was he the sharpest? I'd say in 2015 he was the funniest, definitely very fire. That being said, in 2020 he was a little, depressed, but stressed out. He was sick. He sounded worse. 2024 he gets like a second win, post-assassination attempt. He's like cool again. So it's interesting because after 4 years of being president, do you think Trump will still have that energy to attack Obama? And how much will Obama fall out of favor with the youth of America after another 4 years of just being boring and lame sauce and weak sauce? All right. Now, before we get into the 2028 map, let's look into what the map was like 16 years ago, okay? Here we have Obama versus McCain, 365 to 173. As you can see here, the map was pretty different. Not so much this western side of the country, but the eastern half was certainly different. You saw places like Iowa be blue. You saw places like Indiana blue, Ohio blue. North Carolina, Florida blue, etc. And so you saw that the East Coast, Northeast was certainly a lock for Democrats. The Rust Belt really wasn't in contention. Republicans back then were looking at the Romney map as more so what the inspiration was. So as you can see here, things change a little bit. You see that Nebraska's more Republican. You see that Indiana was red. You saw that North Carolina went red. Places like Florida were really close. Virginia was in contention. Ohio was close. Pennsylvania, kinda. New Hampshire, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada. These were places where Romney was trying to win. In fact, Romney was trying to win by this map right here. He was trying to win in this fashion, something like this, something like that, or maybe something like this. So anyway, the point being is that Obama was really an electoral juggernaut who was already in the lead for both elections almost the entirety of the time. And so Obama seems to be a pretty good candidate when you look historically. That being said, the map is very different. Demography is different. Minorities are a lot more favorable to Trump than they were for Romney or McCain. Even black vote significantly more Republican than it was under Obama. If you didn't know, when he went against McCain, Obama somehow won 97% of the black woman vote, which is hard to fathom, but it's true. Point being, though, is that that sort of super majority of black vote is not going to be so strong for Obama, which makes his advantage in a place like Georgia pretty depressed as compared to before. And so, anyways, let's try to narrow down the map for what it's worth. So, I think Minnesota is going to stay blue. I do think that New Hampshire would stay blue. He's pretty popular in New Hampshire. I would think Obama would do pretty well in Virginia, honestly, of all places. I think Georgia could be close, but I think Trump would win this. I do think also that North Carolina would be close because Obama does have the black appeal, but still, I think it's going to go Republican narrowly. And in this scenario, Trump's approval, for the record, I should have said this earlier, is going to be in the in the low 50s. And when the debates come around, I do think Trump would agree to debate Obama, and Obama would love to get the chance. I think that the debate would be a wash. It would seem a lot like the Gavin Newsom Vance thing, where it's kind of a draw. It just depends on who you prefer walking into the debate, because Trump is going to be bombastic. I think he's going to say, "I did a great job. You sucked. You haven't been here for 10 years. Frankly, Obama, you're washed. Nobody likes you. The blacks, they don't like you anymore." And then Obama's going to be like, "You did not fix healthcare like I did with Obamacare, and you deported this Consuela, and blah, 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 blah." And he's going to nitpick him on certain things and get him on certain things. So it really is in the presidential debate. It just goes down to, is Obama going to look like a whiner and like a nitpicker on Trump, or is Trump going to look like an a-hole and Obama's like so much more articulate than he is? We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I think we can call it a wash for now. So Trump already has a lead going into the election because of how well he did as president the second term. The biased opinion, of course, but I'm just going off of the polling that we have nowadays anyhow. Okay, so let's keep going. So we do have 5 more states. In the state of Pennsylvania, I think that Obama does have a good shot here. The Fetterman types will probably come home back to the Obama plantation. Ironic joke, of course. Trump also does really well in Pennsylvania. Now, if Trump does really do this whole baby drill thing, baby drill, whoops, I do think that these oil workers will come out in big numbers for Pennsylvania. And I do think that Trump does have appeal to these people when there's new leases of land getting given to these oil companies. I do think the employment in those sectors will definitely help the shale workers. I do think Michigan, if these tariffs do work under Trump, I do think that would help him. In 2012, Obama benefited from bailing out the big 3 auto industries in 2010-ish against Romney. That being said, Michigan wasn't even in particular really close anyhow, which is interesting. That being said, I do think Michigan will go home for Trump because he would have made his promises and kept them in theory. So Trump's already won, but let's keep going. Wisconsin looks pretty good for Obama. We'll give it to Obama. Obama, for some reason, does well in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has like this contingent of universities around this area, Green Bay, not really, but southeast Wisconsin, near Racine, near Chicago. There's a liberal strand there. Obama's from Chicago, proximity-wise, pretty good for Wisconsin odds. And like I said, there's a liberal bastion of universities in Wisconsin that keep feminist theory alive. And so I think Obama would capitalize on this. Obviously, Minnesota goes blue. These 2 states are interesting, Colorado and New Mexico. I do view Obama as better with Mexicans than was Kamala. It's hard to explain, but it's true. Kind of like a machismo thing that he's a man. Maybe a gay man, but still. That's a joke. Anyway, so I do think New Mexico and Colorado will go blue as they did in 2008 and 12 and 16 even, and 20 and 24. Whoops. That's a big streak. Anyway, two last states, Nevada and Arizona. I think Obama would see the need to appeal to unions, but I don't think that'll matter. If Trump does pass no tax on tips, that's a lock. Arizona already was the strongest swing state for Trump. Thank you very much. Or you're welcome, rather, to the campaign. But anyways, so after a lot of work in Arizona, I put in, yes, the state went about 6 points for Trump in 2024. I think this trend will continue. I think Obama would be a good candidate for the suburbs in Maricopa and Tucson. That being said, though, the trends in Hispanic vote, I think, will continue to keep metastasizing in certain communities, especially these Mexican ones. Not so much like El Salvadorians and whatnot. But anyway, that leaves Trump against Obama, with Donald getting 302 electoral votes, certifying his win as a three-term president, the first one since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Makes him a legend, of course. Serving non-consecutive terms twice, and then having a third one attached to the second. Pretty crazy. He would basically leave office in 2032 or 2033 at the age of about 87. Barack Hussein Obama loses his first election literally ever, I'm pretty sure. And that makes him a two-term president, which is not the most embarrassing thing, but the fact that he goes, takes a shot at the king and misses, despite the king being like 82, is embarrassing. He goes back home with Michelle, and you don't want to know what happens at the end of that story. But anyways, 236 to 302, Trump W. Trump wins the popular vote here by a little bit, just a little bit, like less than 2%. And Obama goes into retirement. Trump becomes king of America almost. And so anyways, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And comment down below all your thoughts. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.